Okay, hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. In today's episode, we have a whole ton of awesome myths that you guys suggested on the last video. So, just like always, if you do have a myth you would like me to test in the next or future episodes of the Fortnite Mythbusters, make sure to go down in the comments and drop a comment of that myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. As well, at any moment, if you do enjoy today's video, feel free to consider leaving a like. It really does help me out. Let's see if we could smash 7,500 likes on today's episode. That would be insane. As well, if you're new around here and you would like to see more episodes of the Fortnite Mythbusters by me, or even just videos, feel free to subscribe and also turn on those post notifications. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right on in to today's video. Kicking today's video off with a super good myth. This myth is: when you are carrying a runestone, will it count towards your hitbox? Will bullets go straight through it? Does it actually count as an object? Can the runestone actually block bullets for you? What exactly happens? So to do this, if you don't know what the runestone is, it's basically the ball that you get that you have to take to the center of the map to the Spire location in order to get the mythical jump boots. Shortly after killing one of these Spire guards, I then had my friend pick up the runestone, where I then shot it a few times to actually test its hitbox, and surprisingly, it won't do any damage to the player. It has its own hitbox. It's like its own object, and it'll actually protect bullets from your player if it is shot at the right angle. Now, on the runestone, the only part that actually has a hitbox is the ball itself. The little shields on the outer edges, the bullets just go directly straight through that, but it doesn't really matter anyways, because that's not really protecting your player at all. Your player's hitbox also does change depending on how your player is holding it. So usually they're holding it with the ball straight above their head, and if a bullet shoots that little chance straight above your head but underneath the ball, it won't do any damage, which is good to know. Going straight into the next myth. The next myth is: can you tame another person's wild animal like a wolf or a boar while you are wearing a hunter's cloak? Now, this is actually a pretty good myth. If you don't know what the hunter's cloak is, it's actually an item that you could craft in game by combining a bone, I believe it's 2 bones, and 1 piece of meat. So you literally just got to kill like 1 animal and you could get this hunter's cloak, and it's a little bit overpowered. When trying this myth out, we actually tried it with a boar as well as with a wolf, and both times it seemed that I was not able to actually tame his animal. He would tame the animal and they just continued to run away, which was pretty weird. Even though we were on opposite teams, I would do damage to him, he would do damage to me. They would not want to attack us, and I was not allowed to tame them one bit. I mean, they would just kind of run away even when they were standing still, and I had the hunter's cloak on. Even with it off, it still wouldn't give me the option. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter though. I don't really see anybody taming these animals in game anyways, because it does just kind of give away your position at times. Going straight into the next myth. The next myth is: if you throw a cuttlefish down next to a gas station's gas pump and the cuttlefish explodes, will it deal damage to the gas pumps? What exactly happened? Now, the cuttlefish is actually a brand new fish in game that you could catch, and think of it kind of like a sticky grenade from like Call of Duty or something. You throw this thing down and it'll actually explode, and it sticks through walls and stuff. So it's actually it's a pretty cool item, I can't lie. When trying this out in game, obviously I didn't have an enemy nearby to actually set it off, so I had to set off the cuttlefish myself by just shooting it. So I made a little trail from the gas pump a little bit a ways while I then shot the first cuttlefish. It did a chain reaction all the way up to the gas pump, and it actually did do enough damage to light the gas pump on fire. It eventually got down to 0 HP, where it then exploded, setting off the other gas pump. So I mean, I guess technically it can explode a gas station, but a lot of the gas pumps are separated, so it'll really only get half of it at a time. But now knowing this, you could definitely get some really cool kills with the chain reaction. Going straight into the next myth, and another highly requested myth. This myth is: what happens when a car drives to the top of a Spire Guardian tower and goes over one of those launch pads that are at the top? Will the car launch? Will the player launch? What exactly happened? Now, at the top of one of these towers, there's these weird launch pads that you may have noticed, and if you actually do run over top of it, it'll launch your player very, very far. You'll have the anti-gravity effect, and you will also have an option to redeploy your glider. Basically, using this launch pad, it's a good way to rotate just a little bit of distance, just a little bit faster than normal. To try this myth out in game, basically I made a massive staircase all the way up to the top of the tower, because there is no way I'm gonna drive up around that spiral staircase with the car. From there, I drove my car over the launch pad, and I was surprised to see that it actually did launch me the exact same distance as you would without being in the car, just as a regular player. But it didn't give me the option to redeploy my glider or anything, and I didn't take any fall damage. I then tried it one more time, but this time in mid-air when I was at the peak, I then jumped out of the car where I had no anti anti-gravity effect, and I actually did die to fall damage, which you definitely might want to keep in mind if you ever do try this in game. Going straight into the next myth. The next myth is, if you purchase the prop disguise from one of the AIs around the map, will you still take fall damage while you're disguised? Now, I didn't even know this till yesterday, but I guess there's AIs around the map where you could literally go up to them, pay 75 gold, which you know, is a decent amount. I can't lie, you usually get that in the entire game, but you can pay 75 gold and you will literally turn into a random prop. You can't choose what it is. It's most likely a couch, a bush, or you know, maybe a fence or something. Now, something to keep in mind, if you are a prop and you do go up maybe to the top of a build fight, or you know, over a cliff or whatever, somewhere basically where you take fall damage, you will actually take that fall damage, which you know, which helps clears a lot of things up, because there was a popular clip going around where someone tried the same thing out, but they actually jumped off of the steamy stacks, you know, the radiation towers, and he didn't die to fall damage, but he also was in the gliding form. So just keep that in mind. I suggest just staying on the ground if you are a prop, so you don't have to risk losing to fall damage. Jumping straight into the next myth. The next myth is, while using Midas's skin, if you pick up a chicken, will the chicken in any way be affected by Midas's golden touch? Now, I'm sure all of you already know Midas's golden touch will literally turn basically anything into gold, except for a lot of the mythical items, which totally makes sense because those are usually, you know, they're stuck to the actual boss in their design. But Midas's golden touch will actually affect boats, weapons, and a whole ton more items. With the chickens being the new way to actually get around the map pretty fast, especially because you don't take any fall damage, I tried this myth out in game while I was Midas, and I couldn't see any way Midas's golden touch actually affecting the chicken. I mean, I picked it up, tried to throw it back down to see maybe if the bug was actually happening where it wasn't working, but Midas's golden touch wasn't changing it one bit. I mean, it would be pretty cool if maybe the legs would become golden, or the entire chicken would have like this golden glow, but that certainly was not the case. Going straight into the next myth, and actually a very good prop myth. This myth is, while disguised as a prop, will Spires mythical jump boots still work? Will you be able to equip them? Will you take fall damage? Can you redeploy your glider? What exactly happened? This is actually a super good myth, and as you saw earlier on in today's episode, you actually do take fall damage while you are a prop. So the whole thing behind Spires mythical jump boots is taking no fall damage and redeploying your glider. Something really good to know is while you are a prop and you do have these jump boots in your inventory, you will still have the anti-gravity effect on the second jump, making you take no fall damage, and on the third jump you will, you know, go into the gliding form if you are high enough, but you cannot redeploy your glider, but you will just kind of glide down to the ground, and you know, you won't take any fall damage. It's kind of really hard to explain what exactly happens, but you just cannot redeploy your glider, and you're basically just skydiving. I think the biggest thing with this is that you literally don't take any fall damage. Now, keep in mind, on the very first jump, just like normal with the mythical jump boots, you will take fall damage and die, so just make sure you're on your second jump so you have that anti-gravity effect, or even in the third jump with the skydiving. Going into the next myth, and a pretty simple myth. This myth is, what happens if you never close the portals in the Zero Crisis finale? Now, in the Zero Crisis finale, there is you know, obviously that one task where you use a rift gun and you do have to close the portals, but what happens if you just sit AFK, or you just completely ignore them and don't even decide to even close the portals? I tried this one out, and you know, I sat AFK for a long while, literally right in front of the portals, and you know, nothing happened, nothing too crazy. All what really happened was just some extra dialogue, and you know, they didn't close themselves. There was no explosion, so that's a little unfortunate. There was no Easter egg, but I guess it wasn't meant to be that way anyways. Going into the last and final myth. This myth is, what happens when you rocket ride one of the wild animals around the map? Can the wolves or chickens rocket ride? What exactly happened? Now, this was a very difficult myth. I had to get a hunter's cloak, that way the chicken wouldn't go crazy when he does land, and I also made a little arena, that way you know, he can't really run away too far from us. Surprisingly, only after a few attempts of me and my friend trying to coordinate as to when he would throw it and I would actually shoot the rocket, we did manage to actually get the chicken to rocket ride, and you know, he stayed on it for a good while. After rocket riding for a solid 5 seconds, unfortunately the chicken decided to walk off, but it is totally possible to have one of these chickens rocket ride, and I'm convinced this is the first time it's ever happened.